Kuala Lumpur International Airport, one Boeing 777 was preparing to depart for Beijing, the capital of China. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370T was a passenger flight that operated daily between Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia and Beijing, China. Flight 370T was cleared to fly at 12:41 a.m. The flight was supervised by Captain Jahar A. Ahmad Shah, First Officer Fariq Abdul Hamid, and 10 cabin crew members, along with 227 passengers from various nationalities. The flight was scheduled to take off in just over 5.5 hours. Within an hour of takeoff, Flight 370T had passed over Malaysia and was hovering over the South China Sea at an altitude of about 35,000 feet. The night sky was clear and the weather was calm. At this time, Flight 370 was instructed to signal its presence to the air traffic control at Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, as part of a routine. Even when the Kuala Lumpur air traffic controller said goodnight, nothing could have predicted what was going to happen in the next 2 minutes. 1 minute and 43 seconds after the conversation was completed, the aircraft suddenly disappeared from the radar screens of Kuala Lumpur, Minh City, and Bangkok Airport. In the case of Flight 370, despite having a transponder, the initial reason for its disappearance from the radar screens of nearby base stations is said to be that at that particular time, 2 of the aircraft's transponders stopped functioning or working, or that both transponders were intentionally turned off manually on board. During this time, all attempts were made to contact Flight 370. The Boeing 777 aircraft suddenly disappeared from public view without any warning. And finally, as expected, Flight 370 did not arrive in Beijing at 6:30 a.m. Shortly after, Flight 370 was officially declared missing.
The disappearance of Flight MH370 has left the entire Malaysian Airlines deeply worried. They soon formed a committee, but the experienced plane crash investigation team could not find any trace of MH370. The plane soon made headlines around the world. People were expecting answers from Malaysian Airlines, and under such pressure, the airline spent a lot of money and launched a multinational search operation the next morning to find the plane, involving 64 aircraft and 69 ships. They searched the entire South China Sea. Because the investigators hoped that if the plane had accidentally crashed into the sea, its wreckage would definitely be found in the South China Sea. But despite continuous searches, nothing of MH370 could be found in the South China Sea. The investigators did not give up and resumed the internal investigation. They found out after 3 days that the plane had lost contact with the traffic control radar, but it was caught by the Malaysian military radar, where it was shown that the plane was not flying from the South China Sea to Beijing, but was flying over the Malaysian island of Penang to the northwest over the Andaman Sea, another 150 miles before it entered the sky of Thailand, and from there the Malaysian military radar lost contact with the plane. In other words, it lost contact from all over the world. That's where. This news increased the suspicions and work of the investigators, because after that, 6 days of continuous search missions were carried out. From the Bengal Ghat to the edge of the Indian Ocean, the results were zero. Still, the entire investigation department was very desperate to unravel this mystery. And at this time, some data was published by the CDBT and fell into the hands of the investigation officers. 4 hydroacoustic monitoring systems located in a particular region of the Indian Ocean, operated by the CDBT, were able to record a special type of web at the exact time MH370 disappeared. 2 specimens of which are presented to you at this moment.
From this, it is very natural to think that this variation of the sound wave was created because of Flight 370 crashing into the sea. But after looking a little more, it is known that even if the time of the disappearance of Flight 370 and the hydrophone recording match, there is a difference in its origin. Therefore, it is believed that this sound wave was caused by some geological activity and MH370 did not sink. That is, almost all of the questions of the investigators were present. The question that comes to the attention of the investigators first is why the plane changed its direction, or why the plane went outside the radar. because usually it can go outside the radar for a short time, and it is possible to completely disconnect from the radar only when the pilot of the plane wants it. That is, another new question is created. That is, why would the pilot of the plane want this? Then, was the plane hijacked? Did the hijackers force the pilot of the plane to do this? Let's see how many possibilities there are. At this time, the investigators came across a surprising information. It was seen that 2 of the passengers of the plane were traveling with fake passports, both of whom were Chinese. Both of them were searched to see if they were associated with any terrorist organization, but it was soon proven that they were not associated with any terrorist group and they had no bad record in their past. This time, only the pilots are on the list of suspects. The co-pilot of the plane, Fariq Abdul Hamid, a 27-year-old single young man, no motive was found for him, who was supposed to destroy the plane and was supposed to marry his girlfriend in the coming days. Now, let's talk about the captain of the plane, Ahmad Shah, who is the most mysterious person in the disappearance of this plane. The 53-year-old Shah had 30 years of experience in flying planes, but his social media profile was not good at all. He was involved with models and other women. Unofficially, it is known that his relationship with his wife and 3 children was not good either. But the eyes of the investigators were raised when they learned that his name was associated with the then local opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim. This leader was sentenced to 5 years in prison a few hours before Flight 370 took off. So was there any political influence in this? The captain grew up in the city of Penang Island, where the last mess plane was tested. And for this reason, many think that the captain wanted to visit his own hometown in Sahara for the last time, but the real reason for the disappearance of the plane has not been officially confirmed. The biggest thing is that the plane was nowhere to be found. Then the investigators checked the cargo list of the plane and found an item that could have solved this mystery. There were 221 kilograms of lithium battery packs on the plane, which could have caused a terrible explosion. Many assumed that the plane was destroyed by electrical connections in the effect of lithium, but when nothing was recovered in the worldwide search mission, this assumption also had to be accepted as wrong. Suddenly, another thing came to the fore. 16 days after the incident, it was revealed from a satellite data that the plane was sending satellite signals even after losing contact with all radars. By examining these signals, what was found was that the plane had flown for another 5 hours even after losing contact with military radar. It is not possible to know where it had flown from the satellite signals. After all this, the investigation agency, officially MH370, stated that it was not possible to solve the mystery. And from this, the latest conspiracy theory or controversial doctrine is created. It is assumed that there was something worthy that no one wanted. The plane did not reach China, so they landed the plane in Antarctica. And Antarctica is the perfect place to hide any large object. That is why there was no money or demand for the recovery of the plane. The hijackers only needed a specific item. Another conspiracy theory says that the plane either crashed directly into the sea or, according to a report in the New York Times, went to a height of 345,000 feet, due to which the passengers became unconscious and the plane fell into the sea at high speed. But the cost is $100,000. Why was no part of the plane found after searching for 100,000 kilometers? Pointing to a theory of hacking, many people think that the plane was hacked and taken elsewhere. But where or how the hackers hacked is unproven. Now let's discuss the most discussed conspiracy theory that America stole the MH370 plane. Yes, many claim that the U.S. military base Diego Garcia is located next to the Maldives. The base where this plane was brought down also said that they heard the sound of a large plane landing that day.
The director of France's Airlines told the media that the USA saw the plane and hid it from the world. It is never possible today. A plane like the 37 will disappear. That is, it is understood that the USA is covering up its activities. But hiding such a crime is also very difficult. The former Prime Minister of Australia said that the pilot wanted to create some mystery that will never be solved. Again, according to some, today, aliens are conducting experiments on the people of the 49 planes somewhere in the universe. None of these are proven complicity theories. To be honest, the official mystery of the disappearance of MH370 is a mystery. So the mystery is also why the plane's radar was turned off, why the plane's pilot would have turned off the plane's communication system in his right mind. If the hijackers did this, who are they? Why did no organization take responsibility for these hijackers? And why didn't they demand a ransom? If they needed some mysterious item on the plane, what was it? And how did it get from the airport to the plane? Or why would the USA or the plane be hidden? I leave aside the selfish or alien. But the biggest question that arises
is where is the entire plane now?
However, all the theories are sad for the families of the lost people. Maybe they would have found peace of mind in the mystery book. Friends, this is the most mysterious plane disappearance in the world. What do you think? How did MH370 disappear? Write your opinion in the comments. To watch such interesting videos, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon.